and the targets of 7,000 megawatts phase 1 and 11,000 phase 2 and 25,000 megawatts phase 3 will follow. The third phase affects the entire power value chain of generation, transmission, and distribution. On overcoming constraints to power distribution, there is need to consider subsidizing electricity production, which will add to jobs, industries, etc. On timing the completion of refineries repairs to align with rehabilitation of the pipelines, storage depots, and jetties. This is being done. The various refineries under repairs will become functional from 18 months through to 48 months. On Dangote refinery, delays due to COVID-19 induced supply chain disruptions are being overcome, and the commissioning should be anytime within the period of 2022. Priority number 4, how do we improve transportation and other infrastructure? On upscaling public-private partnerships, the Bureau of Public Enterprises has collated 110 projects for consideration for PPPs. BP is putting together an asset register for the country that is aimed at unlocking liquidity. The asset register will be ready by December 2021. On transportation, the ministry renewed efforts on passing the Nigerian Railway Corporation Bill that will eventually unbundle the Nigerian Railway Corporation and allow PPPs in operations of the railway. However, as of now, priority is on completing and operationalizing the ongoing railway projects. On airport concessioning, there is a master plan being followed. Concession advisors have now been appointed. Requests for qualifications have been issued, and airport operators all over have responded. The RFQs are currently under review. Requests for proposals will go out by 25th October 2021. And so by April of 2022, the airports would, if the process goes on smoothly, be delivered to concessionaires and private sector operators. In addition, a maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility and an aviation leasing company are also being planned. Full business case should be approved by FEC by December, and processes will commence. 3, on affordable housing. To facilitate home ownership, there are a number of innovative approaches to mortgages recommended during the panel sessions that the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing has promised to consider. On infrastructure financing and Infraco was approved by Mr. President earlier this year and will become operational before the end of the year. It will be a funding vehicle for infrastructure development. 5, agro-processing zones. The Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority has accepted to work with the African Development Bank on the construction of the agro-processing zones. The first 6 projects have been selected. Pilot states are FCT, Oyo, Ogun, Imo, Kaduna, and Kwara as pilot states, each processing different agricultural products. From first quarter 2022, that is next year, we will see the footprint. Priority number 6, how do we improve health, education, and productivity? Education must be seen as a holistic ecosystem to drive its maximum benefit. There is a need for regulations that are fair and equitable, for the private school sector to participate in establishing schools and support the educational sector. The Ministry of Labor will conduct a national skills audit, labor market survey in 2022. A multi-sector conference on primary healthcare is being planned for November 2021 to advance the implementation of the basic healthcare provision fund. Next steps. What I have just shared with you is a summary of recommendations from some of the panel discussions. My office will develop a detailed report on recommendations from all the sessions of this retreat, including the technical sessions, and share with cabinet members. We will support Mr. President and the cabinet to track all the commitments made in these sessions, keep them in our view, and report on our progress periodically. I wish to appreciate all our resource persons for a great job done and their selfless service to our beloved country. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, for giving us a synthesis of the key recommendations from the panel sessions. The amazing thing was that even the panels that just got concluded, their recommendations were there. It shows that while those panels were sitting, some people were working and working well. Thank you very much. Now it's time to bring this two-day retreat to a fitting close. And how else can that close be fitting than to hear from the father of the nation, our president? My pleasure to invite President Muhammadu Buhari to please make his closing address. Mr. President.
Thank you. Please sit down. Your Excellency, the Vice President, the President of the Senate, Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Chairman, Governors Forum, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Head of Service, Chief of Staff, Honorable Ministers, Senior Government Officials, resource persons, members of the diplomatic corps, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. After 2 days of intensive discussion, we have come to the end of a successful retreat where we reviewed progress on the implementation of the ministerial mandates along the 9 priority areas of this administration. The retreat provided an opportunity for us to undertake an objective assessment of our stewardship in line with the contract we signed with the Nigerian people to deliver on our electoral promises. We reflected on what we had done and identified the areas where we need to improve and refocus our attention during the remaining period of our administration. From the assessment report and discussions at this retreat, I am glad to note that progress has been made towards the achievement of our objectives. The Independent Performance Assessment Report presented on day one of the retreat indicates that significant progress has been achieved in the delivery of the ministerial mandates. Distinguished participants, the discussions at the retreat have prompted the need for us to ramp up implementation on the deliverables. We must close the gaps in our implementation efforts to ensure that we attain set targets by 2023. To achieve this, the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is to immediately begin the process of convening quarterly coordination meetings for each priority area based on the collaborative results framework. This is with the aim to ascertain status of implementation across the 9 priority areas, identify bottlenecks, and prefer immediate solutions. All ministers and permanent secretaries must be in attendance. These are not meetings to delegate. The Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation is to immediately commence engagement with stakeholders to agree and push forward a framework for the institutionalization of the Central Delivery Coordinating Unit. All ministers and permanent secretaries are to promote a robust performance culture across the MDAs by setting up intra-ministerial delivery task teams. The head of service should, as a matter of urgency, invest in capacity strengthening of the planning, research, and statistic departments in all MDAs. This should be done in collaboration with the Central Delivery Coordinating Unit. Let me assure Nigerians that this administration will continue to implement fiscal measures to improve our domestic revenues and mobilize external funding support to build a more resilient economy. There must be synergy between the fiscal and monetary authorities to keep the economy on the trajectory of growth. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, issues around expanding access to quality education, affordable health care, and productivity of Nigerians will be given priority attention within the period of this administration. We will sustain all ongoing efforts in rebuilding our health system through targeted investment in the health sector, especially our vaccination drive to halt the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. This administration remains committed to providing the education and training required for employment and entrepreneurship, particularly using the technology to impact the relevant skills on our youth. Our social investment programs will be sustained in the coming years. We will continue to reach out to the poorest and most vulnerable households through the National Cash Transfer Program and other initiatives of government. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, disaster management, and social development has been directed to come up with a legislative framework for social protection that also guarantees its funding stream. In view of the critical role of micro, small, and medium enterprises in economic growth and development, efforts will be geared towards removing all bottlenecks that militate against access to government support schemes by SMEs. Government will adopt a holistic approach to industrialization that is aligned with Nigeria's aspirations and requirements, working closely with key stakeholders in the private sector. We will continue to support SMEs in view of their multiplier effects on the economy. On the National Single Window Project, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning is directed to ensure all relevant MDAs involved in the implementation of the project complete all processes needed for effective takeoff of the National Single Window platform by the first quarter of 2022. In our determination to build systems to fight corruption and improve governance, this administration will continue to address the issues that foster corruption and impair transparency in the management of public resources. Efforts will be geared towards improving coordination and synergy between anti-corruption agencies. To improve on our infrastructure development, government will prioritize funding and ensure that all high-priority ongoing infrastructure projects are completed before the end of this administration. The Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund will continue to support the delivery of our legacy infrastructure projects across the country. Distinguished participants, I am confident that the lessons we have learned in the last 2 years of implementing our policies, programs, and projects will serve as the needed tool to propel every ministry to remain committed towards the achievement of our developmental objectives. I therefore charge all of you to step up, double your efforts, and work in synergy towards total delivery of our administration's set target. Finally, I would like to thank the Secretary to the Government of the Federation and his team for successfully organizing this retreat. I wish to also sincerely thank all the resource persons that have added immense value to this process. Well done, and thank you all. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Anthem, please. National anthem, please.